Disinformation is making use of the current context, which is much more competitive, because until recently, the candidate countries in the EU neighborhood had only one option, which was integration with the EU. But now the likes of Russia or China, even Turkey and others are proposing an alternative option, which is take the money that comes from these countries and keep the corruption and the government control that we are increasingly seeing in the neighborhood. And that reduces the incentives for these governments, which are becoming increasingly autocratic, to actually meet their obligations and carry on with the reforms. And that just aggravates the situation also with the public, which doesn't really trust the process anymore. It has lost a lot of its credibility. The European Union has let them down in many ways. They don't believe that there's an actual perspective of integration at the end of the process. So there's very little support from the governments, and there's little support from the populations. And hence, the disinformation narratives only need to amplify these pre-existing perceptions and make sure that they're widely distributed. There's not even a need to create new narratives. And the way this is done is through a very heavily government-controlled media space with not a lot of plurality of opinions and not a lot of free sources of media and even social media content. There's a lot of coincidence between the agendas of these governments and the agenda of the Kremlin, and it is largely anti-European and anti-Western. And to be honest, this isn't happening only in the candidate countries. The enlargement process is undermined also through disinformation within the European Union proper, where narratives are being spread of the threat that these countries pose in terms of everything from security challenges when we speak about Ukraine and Moldova to potential migrants and pressure on wages and socioeconomic problems when it comes to a potential influx of people from the Western Balkans. And this is very much the far right in Europe that's spreading these narratives in close coordination with Russia. So the process is being undermined on both sides, and what we see is the actual impact, where it has been losing both its appeal and its credibility and its strength.